welcome to another week. Welcome to the Focus TV. This is season 5, episode 45. We're joined by Octavia Wyatt. We have Cardo Dudley Jr. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. There is a lot to get through this evening. Octavia's probably flying on the highest of clouds at the moment. You know, her team won a nationally televised game, which she's always has a lot of angst about. So we're going to start with the NFC East. After that, we're going to talk about the WNBA Finals now that it has come to a close and a champion has been crowned. Cardo and I took part of, basketball season is pretty much here. All right, it's plain and simple. Like, it's here. We were telling y'all what felt like 5 days ago that it was creeping up on us. It was here. Found the car driving me to where my destination was today. It's already here. I'm still trying to process it. But we had general manager Tommy Sheppard and head coach Wes Unseld spoke with the media, addressed the media for the very first time for the 2022-2023 NBA season. We got training camp starting later this week, media day, all that good stuff. Again, it's literally right here, which means we're like 3 days away from college basketball, essentially. Like, it's happening too quick, all right? I'm going to give you guys an update on DC United. We'll end with some rapid fire as always. That said, Octavia, with the NFC East, I'm also anxious to see what team you start with this week.
It's crazy because I feel like you should start with the teams that are, that won or has the best record, that you feel the most confident about. But I'm kind of doing like a mix of all of those because I'm gonna start with the Giants. The Giants are 2-0, as they did defeat the Carolina Panthers this week. Daniel Jones was 22 of 34, 176 yards with one touchdown and 10 carries for 21 yards. Saquon Barkley had 21 carries, 72 yards, and 3 receptions for 16 yards. Richie James Jr. had 5 receptions for 51 yards, and Daniel Bellinger had 1 reception for 16 yards and 1 touchdown. It's crazy to say that the New York Giants are above 500 and they're 2-0 and tied for the lead in the division. I don't think anybody has said any of those things in the same sentence for a very long time, probably since Michael Strahan was there. New York improved to 2-0 for the first time since 2016, and they sent the Panthers to their 9th straight loss dating back to last year as well. The biggest star for them so far this year is their defense. Their defense has been holding up really, really well. Wink Martindale has definitely got the boys kind of whipped into shape, and it's kind of crazy to say, granted, that they still have not seen their first-round pick, Kayvon Thibodeau, play. So it seems to only go up from there. My only concern is that they played the Panthers and they played the Titans, and we saw what happened to the Titans last night on TV. So I'm not 100% sold. Kenny Golladay is getting paid $75 million and taking 2 snaps. Kadarius Toney, we know nothing about that. It's just a little. I'm not 100% sold on them yet. But granted, you can't take the win away from them. Even though both of the wins were kind of close. So had things gone differently, in 1 or 2 plays, who knows? They could be 0-2, they could be 1-1. But at the end of the day, they did what they needed to do. Graham Gano, who was a former kicker for the Carolina Panthers, actually was probably the MVP of this game for all the field goals that he kicked in order for them to win the game. And like I said, even though they did win the game, the Panthers had it right there for them as well to win the game. So again, they won 19-16. Their next game, next week, we're going to have all NFC East battles. So they are going to be playing next Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys. So that'll be a big test for them. Granted, just because of the name, to be completely honest, we know what's going on in Dallas, and I'll get to that in a moment. But I'm also kind of interested to see how Saquon does for the remaining of the year. He had a great first showing in the first game, and I think a lot of people expected that to follow up. It wasn't the best, but it was still doable enough for them to win. He 21 carries, 72 yards, so he did what he needed to do. But I'm just interested to see if he's going to be able to do that next week against Dallas's defense, especially because we know how porous their offensive line can be at times. So just seeing if they'll be able to open enough running lanes for him to actually be effective. So next, I'll go to the team that is here at home. The Washington Commanders, they are the lone team that lost this week in the division. So Washington lost to the Detroit Lions, 36 to 27. Carson Wentz was 30 of 46, 337 yards, three touchdowns and one interception, two carries for 23 yards. Antonio Gibson had 14 carries, 28 yards, one touchdown, and two receptions for 13 yards. Curtis Samuel, who honestly for me is kind of like their not surprised, but knowing that he didn't play as much last year with the injuries, it's kind of nice to see him having the season he's having so far. He had seven receptions, 78 yards, one touchdown, and one carry for 21 yards. Rookie Jahan Dotson is already making his mark, four receptions, 59 yards, and one touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. And Logan Thomas, three receptions, 37 yards for one touchdown. Um, it's kind of the same thing that I didn't mention this about the Giants, but I feel like the Giants and the Commanders are having the same issue. They start very slow. And that's exactly what happened to Washington in this game. It's funny because I play in a pool where we pick games, and pretty much everybody picked Washington to win. And I think it was because my team played Detroit last week that I was like, Detroit's a little bit better than you guys giving them credit for. So I wasn't that surprised to see the 22-0 start. I mean, I'll say I was kind of surprised. I didn't think it would be that bad in the beginning. But they started entirely too slow. When you get down three scores, it's really hard to come back in an NFL game, especially against, granted the notion of the Detroit Lions, but they have a lot of good weapons in DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams and Amon St. Brown, and so they're coming on in that aspect of it. But the Commanders fell behind 22 to 0, excuse me. They didn't get their first down until there was 5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the first half. They tried some crazy trick play that was just trash. I don't know where it came from. And I mean, part of it is we know Carson Wentz sometimes holds the ball too long. But I honestly don't think he held it that long, but he really had Aiden Hutchinson in his face all day. Rookie Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks in this game, and he was just dominating Sam Cosmi. So it just didn't look bad for that. It just didn't look good for that offensive line, and it's going to get a little bit worse. Center Chase Ruler was placed on IR for his knee. There hasn't been a lot of reports of exactly what it is. There's a lot of theories, MCL injury. I read they were worried about his kneecap as well. But they're looking to get a second opinion once the swelling in his knee goes down. So that still hasn't happened yet. So there's not a clear-cut issue right now, but they fear that it could be season-ending, and that's just another hit to their offensive line. On the other side, their defense has just been terrible everywhere. Their cornerbacks, their secondary is getting killed. They're not getting enough pressure. It looks like I think Jamin Davis had maybe 1 sack early on with Jared Goff, but Jared Goff was pretty, upright for most of the game. Granted, they do have a really good offensive line in Detroit as well. I mean, the running game didn't really get going. I mean, Antonio Gibson, 14 carries, 28 yards, isn't really going to do it. I know they're itching to get Brian Robinson Jr. back, because I also thought that I really think he could take over that position. He's a more powerful running back to me than Antonio Gibson, who's obviously not an original running back. He didn't start playing football as a running back. I think he was a wide receiver and then converted to a running back. So he just doesn't, to me, have that power. And then on the last phase of the game, their special teams wasn't great either. Their kicker missed an extra point. It was just kind of bad all the way around. Now, granted, Carson Wentz had a pretty decent day outside of the 1 interception, where it always happens where he's just trying to kind of get them back in the game, and he just makes a silly decision. And that's usually what happens for them. But I give them credit for coming back, but they just didn't have enough to stop Detroit, and that is why they lost that game. It doesn't get any easier for them because they will play against my Philadelphia Eagles next week, and I can't wait to see that myself. Next, I'm going to go to probably the surprise of the day as far as games. The Dallas Cowboys played against the Cincinnati Bengals. They defeated the Bengals 20-17. Cooper Rush was 19 of 31, 235 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 carry for 2 yards. Ezekiel Elliott, 15 carries, 53 yards, and 1 reception for -4 yards. Tony Pollard, 9 carries for 43 yards and 1 touchdown, 4 receptions for 55 yards. And surprise, surprise, Noah Brown, 5 receptions, 91 yards, and 1 touchdown. All I kept hearing watching this game was you can tell that Cooper Rush and Noah Brown have had a lot of work together playing on the second team, which is probably very true. You can tell early on that he was very comfortable with getting the ball to him. The thing I like about Cooper Rush is he doesn't try to play outside of himself. I don't see him trying to be Dak Prescott. He's doing enough to make sure that they can get the ball down there when they need to. He's not Carson Wentzing, if you want to throw that out there. He's not trying to do too much. He's just staying in himself and he's just playing the way that he needs to. I mean, the Bengals play bad again, to be completely honest. In my pool, nobody had them winning. My brother's a Cowboys fan. He didn't even pick them to win. So it was just kind of like, yeah. But as bad as the Bengals played and as many sacks as Michael Parsons has had already this season, it's ridiculous. I mean, for the season so far, he has 13 pressures, 4 sacks, 5 quarterback hurries, and a 25.4% pass rush just in 2 games. And he's on track. He's on pace right now for 34 sacks. Now, will it happen? I doubt it. But they have him right where he needs to be as far as his positioning. Because like I've said previously, you could pretty much put him anywhere and he's going to wreck the game. And that's what he's doing. He, to me, is the reason why they won the game. He literally was in Joe Burrow's face all night long. What's even funnier is Leal Collins, who played with the Cowboys last week. He probably already knew that this was going to happen, but to actually, have to deal with Michael Parsons all game long after being his teammate last year is probably not the funnest thing to happen. But like I said, Cooper Rush had a great, game-winning drive at the end. Brett Meyer, who was cut previously, previous years due to his lack of making field goals, is kind of redeeming himself. Kick the game-winning field goal. The Cowboys were able to manage the clock at the end of the game and not shoot themselves in the foot, and they were able to get the win, where a lot of people didn't think they would. Like I've also said in the past, please do not listen to Michael Irvin. He is now back on the bandwagon that he believes the Cowboys are now back in, and nothing else is going to happen. They are great. Cooper Rush is going to take them to the promised land. I need you to pump your brakes. They will play against the Giants Monday night. So it's always the big lights on the Monday night game. So I'm interested to see how this goes, just because, like I said, the Giants are having a little bit more success this year. So it should at least be an interesting game. And then last but certainly not least, I'm going to talk about the best team in the division. I'm biased, of course. The Philadelphia Eagles played against the Minnesota Vikings. Jalen Hurts, and they did defeat them 24-7. Jalen Hurts was 26 of 31, 333 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 11 carries for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miles Sanders, 17 carries for 80 yards and 3 receptions for 6 yards. Dallas Goedert had 5 receptions for 82 yards. And then Quez Watkins, 2 receptions, 69 yards, and 1 touchdown. I mean, where do I start? I mean, it's just crazy. It's not crazy to me. I definitely thought that this was possible. But again, like Wilson said earlier, I am not a fan of nationally televised games for my team. It usually doesn't go that great. But the good thing about this one is it always goes worse for Kirk Cousins, which continues. I'm not the one to jump on the bandwagon about certain awards and rankings and odds and things of that such, but everything that I've read today, granted, I feel like it was because the game was yesterday, so all of the information is coming out today. A lot of people calling Jalen Hurts, an early candidate, very, very, very early candidate for MVP. I'm still just a little like I don't want that on us, but I mean, he threw for 300 yards with a touchdown and ran for 2 more scores on Monday. They said he's the third behind Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, who are killing it this year, obviously. He's being able, he's doing what he's always done, being able to create with his legs. You can see how strong he is. That one play that he ran from the 30-yard line and just drug a couple people across the goal line was just a testament to that. But the biggest thing for him is his accuracy, and his poise in the pocket has gotten so much better. It's crazy to see it. this good this fast because it was kind of not that great last year, and I honestly just feel like it's usually a slower progression in those type of aspects. But you can tell he worked really hard in this offseason. You can tell that he has the full support of the organization behind him, and he's doing what he needs to do. It was a lot of talk in the offseason about a lot of pressure being on him, which it is. But so far, so good in the first two games. On the other side of it, I've been very impressed with the defense in the last game. The first game wasn't that great. Darius Slay, especially against Justin Jefferson, who we know gassed the the Packers last week, held him to basically nothing. I read a lot of the memes and stuff. They were basically saying it looks like Darius Slay plays for the Minnesota Vikings because Kirk Cousins kept throwing him the ball. Granted, Darius Slay had 2 interceptions. He probably could have had 4. He dropped 2. So the defense was feasting. The up front, like just ever, the interception by Avonte Maddox, it was just a great game to watch all the way around. But they have to continue that with the defense. They play against the Washington Commanders next week. So I really just want to see what defense are we really. And it's kind of crazy because we did lose Derek Barnett to a season-ending ACL injury. So to have one of our starters go out and then know that we have enough in the back end to rotate somebody else in and continue and actually look better is a positive sign. Last thing for Jalen Hurts, he became the first Eagle player to combine for 300-plus yards in the first half since Michael Vick in 2010 against the Washington Commanders. I'm not 100% sure, but I would think Kirk Cousins was there at that time. But we'll see. But yeah, so they'll play against the Washington Commanders next week. It's all divisional games next week, so it's going to be very interesting to see. As of now, like I said, the Giants and the Eagles are 2-0, and the Cowboys and the Commanders are both 1-1. So as a whole, for a division where we get called NFC least a lot, we're having a pretty good show in the first 2 weeks. Granted, one thing that I would definitely make sure that I note, it has been reported that the NFC East probably does have the softest schedules. So, I mean, a lot of teams that they're going to play against this year are either didn't make the playoffs or very low in that tier. So the division as a whole has a chance to do great things if a lot of these players stay healthy, which right now for Dallas is a little bit tough, as well as, it's kind of piling on for the Commanders. I know they're itching to get Chase Young back, but he has at least another 2 weeks since he started the season on IR. So it's just going to be interesting. Another crazy week in the NFC East as it is in the NFL as a whole.
Yeah, this is off to a wacky start, for sure. That said, going to get to the WNBA Finals. Last time we talked to y'all, it was after games 1 and 2, and literally game 3 was being played as we were taping last week's show. That said, we saw Connecticut get on the board in game 3 with Alyssa Thomas recording the first triple-double in WNBA Finals history in the 105-76 win over the Aces. However, the Aces would bounce back to close things out on the road in Connecticut in game 4, winning 78-71 thanks to some big-time buckets from Raquana Williams, a.k.a. Bebe. Some people don't follow League too much may have forgotten that, some of those in basketball, sometimes when you have those scorers that come off the bench, they get hot. And that's just what they do in their career. She's had a 50-plus point game under her belt, off of mostly jumpers. But her team needed every one of her buckets in this game, especially down the stretch, where things were going back and forth there. You got Connecticut at home, and Raquana was responding with 3-point bombs. When the Aces needed a response, Kelsey Plum hit a runner late for the dagger. And then Chelsea Gray was named Finals MVP. As for why she was named Finals MVP, she averaged 21.7 points per game and 7 assists. She shot 54.5% from deep on just under 6 attempts per game. She shot 65.5% on twos, 63.2% between 3 and 10 feet, 63% between 10 and 16 feet, 69.2% between 16 feet and the 3-point line. So again, now that the finals are over. The Aces have been crowned. They're literally in the midst as we're recording this. They pretty much just started their parade. Cardell, your thoughts on the finals now that the WNBA season has come to a close?
Aces was just a better team, more prepared, better coach, and they executed better. Simple as that. Connecticut been Connecticut execution, preparation been up and down the season. Their talent got them to the finals, and Mother Time just in Chicago at a just a cruel time, in the playoffs. That's what got them over the hump. But that wasn't gonna work against the Aces. You know what I'm saying? Who could match up with them pretty much every position, and they have. I'm not gonna say they have more big game experience because Connecticut has been there, but without like Jasmine Thomas and stuff like that, as far as their key players, they do. And Asia had her moments. John Quill, Alyssa, they had their moments. They was going back and forth. You talked about Kelsey. Jackie Young, when they came off the bench, but the difference was Chelsea Gray. She controlled the game literally throughout the playoffs. No one had an answer for her. She destroyed everybody. I don't know what got into her. Because, like we said, we seen her play the Mystics, and they did a good job of containing her. In both games, it's just what they played 2 or 3. Did they play 2 or 3 this year? The Mystics and Aces. So they did a good job, man. But they got an all WNBA defensive team backcourt. You know what I'm saying? I think they're the only team in the league with that, so it helps. But nah, they were just better. You saw in key moments down the stretches. Connecticut could have easily won some games if they would have just executed better, but they didn't have the point guard play to control the game and get the ball to key people when they needed it. They would just make silly mistakes at just stretches. It was just turnovers, missing layups, missing free throws, certain players just being ice cold at the right time, too many defensive lapses and stuff like that. It's just like, where y'all at? Like, this stuff shouldn't be. They made mistakes that you expect teams to make early in the season when they trying to figure each other out and get a chemistry with one another in real live games, real live game situations. That's what happened with them. And then they would have stretches where they would play like Connecticut Sun basketball. You can see their talent connect, and you be like, damn, okay. But then they go right back to the mistakes, and that was their demise, because the Aces, they would make little mistakes, and once they recovered, got back on track, they didn't usually make those same mistakes. And that's what it was, man. But Chelsea Gray was the difference in this series. You pretty much call this the season of Asia Wilson. You know what I'm saying? She dominated. It's always been little questions like who's the best player and all that. And the next season, she definitely got the crown. Can't say much more. She got the ring. She got the MVP. She got Defensive Player of the Year. So nothing else needs to be said. She does it all. She did everything. First championship, she did what she's supposed to do. Connecticut has now been there twice, and took it L. They have some tough questions. Is Kurt Miller still the voice that they need? Is Jasmine Thomas? Because even when she played in the finals, she was up against the Mystics. You know what I mean? Like, would she return the form and be who she was or better? I think they know. No disrespect to Hyman. I think they know they got to upgrade, because she was just, no disrespect. They got to the final. They didn't know where they had. And that put more pressure on Alyssa Thomas to play that point forward role, because Hyman was food. We could just call it what it is. And Chelsea Gray had her way. They got to make some. They got some tough decisions to make over there, man. And we're gonna see, man. But congrats to the Aces, well deserved. And I'm happy for Becky Hammond. She got her shot. Had a former player diss her for no reason. And then that former player just looks horrible, where it's like you done. Like, why would I even look your way? The team you forced a trade from, just the coach and all that, ended up better and winning the ship without you. It's no better checkmate than to be more successful when a person say you're kind of try to sabotage and stuff with their BS in the mix, man. So it was easy to kind of root for the Aces and stuff, and they enjoying their parade, man, as they should. It's a tough grind in the WNBA. Even like Kelsey Plum, people wrote her off. She's a bust, no one pick, and she had a rough couple years. It was just like, yeah, this WNBA life different, especially on the guard spot. It's real. You know what I'm saying? She figured out her role. She figured out her niche. Got to it and got it done. Jackie Young grew. But like I said, getting Chelsea Gray, and it's not just that former player that's with the Aces. It's a former coach in LA that shouldn't be coaching ever again. He should be banned from the league too, because you can't pretty much push out two of your players and they win rings in back-to-back years. That's just bad. But I know he's done it regardless, and he definitely can't go back to the NBA. They're not having that too many burnt bridges. But all in all, man, the Aces deserve to win. They was just, truth be told, from start to finish, they were the most consistent team, and they earn it, well deserved, happy for them, and we'll see how the other teams adjust to try to knock them off next year.
Facts. You talk about most consistent. They started the year strong and ended it the way you should end it. Did exactly what a team of their caliber should do. Octavia, your thoughts on the finals now that it's come to a close?
Yeah, I mean, first off, definitely congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces. They deserve it. I hope they enjoy their parade because Asia Wilson definitely enjoyed after the game because she was lit when I saw the press conference. But yeah, like Cardell said, I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Just the Connecticut Sun, they just couldn't compete. And they made it even harder on themselves because of to me how bad DeWanna Bonner was. It's just like in order for them to have an actual chance to even compete, in my opinion, there's no way she could be as cold as she was throughout that entire series. It just was unsurmountable for them to come back from. Jonquel did what she could, but she was dealing with Asia, and then like you said, the guard play for the Suns just wasn't enough. Courtney Williams was definitely hot and cold, and you can't do that against the Aces because just like you said, they're well coached, and you can tell how well coached they are even in the 1 year under Becky Hammond, to get them to buy into her program and to get them where they needed to be. And then, like you said, Chelsea Gray was just ridiculous. Like literally every time she had the ball, I was like, she's about to score. And it was like, even when it looked like it wasn't, it still was. So I mean, like she definitely deserved, everything that she got. I think like the all-star snub for her, she really took that to heart, and you could tell she took it to heart, and she got in the lab and she did everything to prove to everybody where she knew she belonged, and she just annihilated everybody. And then, like you said, it just wasn't enough for Connecticut. They didn't have enough off the bench either. I think it was one point DeWanna Bonner got hurt, and I was like, oh, she'll come back in. Like, who else is even going to remotely try to contribute to the game? So it was just way too much Aces. They're just way too poised. I mean, like you said, Asia Wilson had an astonishing year. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, first team all WNBA. They got the Coach of the Year, the Most Improved Player of the Year. Kelsey Plum had a big year as well. They were just too much for them. I honestly felt like Connecticut kind of got lucky on it. I won't say lucky because you got to play the game to win it. But that run they went on at the end of game 3 definitely saved them because I was calling for a sweep. It was about to happen. But kudos to them for not laying down in that aspect. Even the last game they fought pretty hard, but like you said, they just didn't have enough to overtake the Aces. So congratulations to them. Their first in their franchise, and I'm sure if they keep that core group together, there will be more.
Yeah, it was the right way to wrap up a fun WNBA season. I'm looking forward to this, upcoming women's college basketball season, and then we're going to be right back here doing this all again, just like the NBA season crept back up on us. WNBA season is going to do the same thing, and like Cardell said, what will be interesting, it happens all across sports when teams win championships, how the teams who fell short counter or figure out how they're going to try to address keeping said team from repeating. We're going to take our first break tonight. When we get back, we're going to ask Cardell for a couple thoughts from today's media availability with Tommy Sheppard and Wes Unseld Jr. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Cardell, They talked for quite a while today. It was 52 minutes. They were talking. That said, uh, what were some of the things you felt like you were able to glean from today's press conference? Again, keep in mind, it's the first one of the season. I don't think any groundbreaking things were said. However, for some folks that may watch it on YouTube or whatever or what have you, just share some things that you took from it.
It went long because that was ask me all the questions now because I don't want to hear from y'all until games begin. That's all that was. Like you said, they didn't really say nothing that really moved me personally. They just said the things that we, if you're being honest, you all know it's there. Number one, defense. I know, West said it was a couple good things defensively from last year, but overall as a team, they got improved drastically. It ain't even no question. So they got to get better in the multiple ways on the defensive end, and mostly just swarming. Giving extra effort, even if you get beat, still getting effort to get back in. Multiple rotations and stuff. Helping the helper, helping the helper to help someone else. Like just making a opposition feel like instead of 5, it's 10 people on the court. You know what I mean? So they don't have to always try to get in a shootout, man, because it's gonna be a lot of nights. It's a long season. It's gonna be a lot of nights. You just can't score, and you're gonna need your defense to tie down so you can find a rhythm. And I'm happy he kind of Wes Unseld really spoke on that, man. And it starts with the players. They gotta buy in. And not just buy in when things are going well. You got to buy in when it's bad. Because, like we said, it's the NBA. Certain players going to be hot. But you still got to buy in and keep coming with it. We saw it in the finals with the Warriors. I mean, Wiggins did an excellent job. But, look, man, Luka was hitting some bombs sometimes. It was just like, but he just stayed there. You know what I'm saying? He showed how mentally tough he was. And the Warriors as well. And stuck with it. And they got him up out of there. So obviously addressing the team's defensive issues. One thing they talked about was the depth of the team with, Monty Morris, Will Barton, Taj Gibson. I like those moves. Veteran guys that are used to winning and are just coming here to just fit in. They're not really coming in here to, last year it started out good, but it was a lot of guys in contract years trying to show something. And when things went bad, it went bad quickly because of that. You know what I mean? And these guys coming out, I think they're kind of past that stage where it's like, I'm trying to show what I can do. At this stage, it's just like, man, we trying to win, and this is a situation we're in. So let's try to change this thing because right now in the East, especially with Donovan Mitchell coming over with the Cavs, the East is crazy now. It's real. So, you got to have depth because you're not going to be able to deal with the Nets got their own issues, but the talent will win most nights in the regular season. If it's available, the talent will win alone. You got the Phillies, obviously you got the Celtics who are in the finals. You got the Cavs that's there. Miami ain't going nowhere. Dang, man, I'm trying to just go down the East, man. Just trying to think. Milwaukee, of course. I don't know how I struggle from you remember, no. That's 5 or 6 teams just right there where you on paper, you like they're better than the Wizards. You know what I'm saying? Just on paper. You know what I mean? So the Wizards, they're gonna have to come together very quick. And they're gonna get a good taste. I love the fact that their first preseason game, that's why they're the first team to training camp later this week. They're the first team to kind of get going. They got to fly out to Japan and play the Golden State Warriors. So they're gonna get a good taste to see where they at, right off the bat. Because the Warriors are greedy. They're trying to repeat, to really shut people up, to really talk. And that's going to really kind of give the Wizards a gauge of, I know it's preseason, but that's going to be a gauge of where they at, especially for the young players, certain lineups. I know Wes Unseld was talking about certain lineups that he wanted to try out in the preseason, certain groups, maybe a defensive group here. It might be a young group here with like Kispert, Rui, Denny, the rookie from Wisconsin. You might just throw different lineups, just see how they mesh. Because you just don't know what's going to happen during the season. Like they said, they had plans for Corey Kispert, last year's rookie, to be in a go-go uniform at first. Certain players went down. He come in, and he gets minutes because he's defending. And then he did what he was drafted for, shooting. So he's playing both ends. Next thing you know, he played 76 games with the whole thing. And he's like, well, damn, he's more ready than we thought. And now he's in the rotation. That's how you do it. So they looking for that. They kind of looking for that gauge to see who fits together right away. The growth of Danny playing in Europe, the World Cup this summer. I watched a couple games of his, and he definitely looked. They put the ball in his hands and was like, lead us to the promised land. And he answered the challenge. He was hooping. He looked totally different. He looked like he ready to make that leap. I think last year was big for him because he had moments offensively, but I think he was their most consistent defender by far. It's no question, because he was guarding point guards, the Lucas, the Jaws at times. And then I literally saw him go down there, and he damn near won one game against the Bucks because he was getting stops on Giannis. He was playing some great defense. Problem is, he ain't had much help. That was the problem, man. So, look, if he can impact both ends, that's a plus because his versatility with his size and everything, his skill set, man. He's a Swiss Army knife type of player. Wes Unseld can put him in so many different positions, and he can do it. So I think what we saw in the World Cup, where kind of putting him in as the man, would help him, be more, let's just say, aggressive in attacking and leading. You might not even have to say a lot, but just leading, and the guys gonna respect it because they know you can do it. So I think that was pivotal. I was expecting him to make a leap. Also, Wes Unseld, another thing he talked about, he flew to Latvia to bond more for Kristaps Porzingis. He only had him for like a half a season. Not even had a couple months. And let's call it what it is, February, April, then it's done. So he flew over there, spent a few days with him. Porzingis was playing with the Latvian national team as well. He got to meet the coaching staff and just talk with him and get to know Kristaps better, so he can better know how to coach him and get the best out of him, and that's key. You got to know what your guys, because let's call it what it is. The Wizards start with Bill and then Kristaps Porzingis. It starts there, and then you work your way down. And they ain't calling him a unicorn when he first came to the league for nothing, man. It is what it is. Like, if he plays up to his potential, that's a hell of a asset to have on your team, man. You know what I mean? We saw it with stretches last year, man. You know what I mean? So with him, it's just staying healthy and just being mean and just dominating at all times, man, because it's there. If he play up to his potential, that changes a lot for the Wizards, man, and it takes a lot of pressure off of other guys. And the beautiful thing is he don't even have to play the five like that because you got Gafford and all them down there, so he could be at the four, do the stretch four thing. Like I said, the main thing with him is just being consistent and being on the floor. That's the thing that's plagued him. And a couple more things. They said Bill was hooping in team-oriented runs out of LA or whatnot. He still hasn't been cleared to return, but at least he's active and stuff. So that's good news, obviously, coming off the surgery and stuff late in the season. And lastly, Rui. They said they're looking for Rui to make the league, and I am too, man. He got the potential. I always say he got 20 and 10 talent. It's time for him to reach it. Just be consistent with that, man. Be more aggressive. Obviously, it's going to be a lot on him when they fly to Japan to play. Look, man. We saw when Yao Ming was playing. They the man. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole country going to be behind them. I know Tommy joked that they getting all the press and stuff done here now. So when they fly there, it's about basketball. But man, it's his home country, man. They gonna sneak up in there and be like, nah, dog, we need some time. So he gotta handle that because he ain't gonna be there long. I think they said they got 2 games, 4 days, and a couple practices. So go there and handle business. Start the season off right. So when they come back and get a couple more preseason games, and they'll be ready to go for the season, which starts in a couple weeks. It's real, man. So that's all we really got, man. Look, these days, man, these presses, the teams say a whole bunch of nothing. They say a lot of nothing. So you got to learn to read between the lines. I mean, and obviously they can't just be like, hey, here's the playbook. This is exactly the game plan. They can't just say that. Obviously, man, if you know basketball, you can kind of understand where they're going, So for me, I just kind of do a lot more listening than ask questions unless it's something major, because you just you're not gonna get too in depth with what they can and they're not supposed to. That you got to keep some things, keep a lot of things in the locker room within the team if you're trying to win. You know what I mean? But look, we've done enough of these. Every team in the league is optimistic right now. They're excited. They're like, yeah, man, we're gonna win. we'll know by December. We'll know mid-December what it is for a lot of teams, and we'll go from there, man. But the East is real, so that's why I was kind of hoping they would stick to it. Last year, because we all knew it was going to get deeper once certain guys got healthy and things moving around. So forgot about Atlanta, New York potentially, man. Look, it's real. It's real out here. So we're going to see how I go. Just wait till media day, see what the players are looking like, talking about it and stuff like that, and get ready for the when they start playing preseason next week. Flight to Japan, and see how they do against the Warriors.
Like you said, a whole lot of words this time of year. At some point, games have to be played, and then then we start taking something from that. And one of the things we learned quite a few times last couple of years in Wizards Outlook, give it some time. There's a couple little markers during different parts of the year, and they give us a good idea of where we're going that year, what we'll be seeing. And like you said, the East is on one. It's been a wild offseason.
One last thing before you go. It's a lot at stake with a person with a new contract. So the losing is done early. Yeah, it'll definitely get real because paying somebody $250 bill, not $250,000, $250 bill. I need W though. I ain't trying to hit none of that though. I ain't trying to hit nothing. So yeah, the pressure's on right away, and the whole franchise feels it. All the basketball people feel it. So we'll see how it goes.
That's a great point that you brought up. When you have one of those guys making that type of money,
need W's.
Yeah, no conversations.
Yep.
No words, just results.
2-12, load this shit up. We're winning that kid in France. Let's go. Load up.
Hey, look, they might not let it get to 2-12, messing with what's it called with Wembanyama. That might put you out the stakes, messing around with Utah, Utah and some other folks. OKC's great at this game, so we'll see. But it should be fun. Definitely follow the focus, obviously, on your social media mediums in the coming weeks. Well, for the rest of this week, and obviously as they get in training camp to be in Japan and what have you. Should be fun. We're gonna take our second break, but first. This week we have a breakdown of Shot Fake Space Away 3. Again, it's a Shot Fake Space Away 3 on this week's 9450 breakdown, brought to you by Jamal Hayward. Followed by our second break. You're watching the Focus TV.
Today we're gonna break down a shot for 3-point shooters. Shot Fake Space Away shot. Space away with a dribble. It's useful for, opposite wing action, and the shooter replaces to an open spot. Shooter gets run off the line. This is the option that you have to still get off a clean shot. Joe Harris uses it a lot. Some bigs use it a lot as well. Kevin Love is really good at it. So this is something that, most shooters, the knockdown shooters, when those defenders are trying to run you off the line, this is something definitely useful for you guys can still take and use this in your game. So let's break it down from this one here. So I'm throwing from the wing to the top. Now, let's just utilize a game situation. That opposite wing. Guard with the ball, drive, penetrate middle, or baseline. Obviously, if the ball getting closer to the rim, the defense has to pay attention to it. So, your normal principles on defense, if you're away from the ball, you get to help defense. Obviously, the ball getting close to the rim, so you get a little closer to the rim in case you have to help. Now, with me realizing that, I gotta give my driver an open lane for a pass, whether it's fading to that corner or relocating to this top of here, or any one of this in any spot here. So, as I move to the top, I get that pass. My defender realizes that pass is coming to me. So now they're gonna bust their ass to get to me to run me off the line. So, I catch here. Alright? Now, I want this open shot. But because I'm a very good shooter, they're gonna try to run me off the line. So here is what's useful for you shooters. So, as I come here, I'm taught that I go to my left footwork, so that I'm squared. As I get into my footwork and catching the ball, Now the defender's getting closer to me, so I don't have a wide open shot necessarily. Shot 3. On set. 1, 2. Shot. Their momentum is taking them this way because they're busting their ass to get to me so that I don't have a wide open shot. They're going this way. Shot fake. Straight dribble. Wide open shot. Let's walk through it. Wide open shot. Other way. Wide open shot. Here's what it looks like. Very useful. Very, very useful.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. I want to thank Jamal Haber for knocking out this week's 9-4-50 breakdown. DC United. So, the Black and Red had 2 games last week. The first was on the road in Kansas City, where they fell 3-0. The second game was Sunday at home against Miami. This one was a lot more of a back-and-forth affair versus last Tuesday night's game. But Miami got the goal in stoppage time courtesy of the veteran, the ageless one, Higuain. Christian Benteke opened the game up with the goal in the 22nd minute. Chris Durkin with the assist. Durkin picked up a loose ball after a taxi was creating in the box. Ball got away from him just a little bit. Durkin picked it up, took a touch, put a curling ball to the far post. Benteke does what, they still haven't told us how much that man cost. Clearly, the money was worth it. Something he's done quite a few times. He got the ball tapped to pass the keeper to get his first goal as a first goal at home as a member of DC United. Leo Campana would respond in the 39th minute, and then the first half would end in a 1-1 draw. Campana would open the scoring in the second half in the 53rd minute. Then taxi struck. Fountas would respond in the 58th minute. It was off a DC United free kick. Martin Rodriguez took the free kick from the right side, curled into the box. Defender tried to clear it for Miami. The ball didn't. It was a decent clearance. Only it fell to the feet of Fountas, and Fountas didn't even let it hit the ground. He ripped the volley past the keeper. It's 2-2. Teams are going at it. It was a good ending. It was a good fight from both teams. As time went on to end regulation, then there was about 7 minutes of stoppage time, and in the 4th minute, Russell Canals got the ball in midfield. He tried to pass it up to a teammate. Another teammate unknowingly was in the way. The ball bounced off their shin, started a little break numbers-wise. DeAndre Yedlin slid a pass into the middle of the box. Higuain wasted no time firing it past the keeper to give his team the 3-2 lead in the 94th minute. DC United has 2 games left on their schedule. The first on October 1st in Montreal, and then they'll close out the season at home against FC Cincinnati. We're going to get into rapid fire. Got time for a couple questions this week. And what you got for us, Cardo?
Yeah, we're going to start off with interesting, story out in the NBA. And I'm going to throw some rumors that's connected to it out there so we can kind of have a discussion. And it may make you rethink some things. So we all know about the Robert Sarver situation with the Phoenix Suns, the owner of the Phoenix Suns. Investigation later, he said, racist and misogynistic stuff for years, just really making a very toxic work environment. Chris Paul came out, said he needs to be removed. LeBron said that, and now Draymond Green, on his podcast, he's calling on the board of governors, the owners, to vote out Robert Sarver. On his most recent episode of his podcast, he said this guy gets to just come back in the fold as if he's still representing us, as if he's a part of us. That can't be so, because for us, especially as African Americans, I'm uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable in knowing that in that position, you can just essentially do whatever you want. And because you own an asset, you can't be punished. I saw where Commissioner Adam Silver said, I've taken the steps that I can take. The maximum penalty that I can hand out, I hand it out. In order for Robert Sarver to be kicked out as an owner of a franchise and forced to sell, that vote will fall on 2/3 of the other owners of these assets. So what I would say is, why don't we pose a vote? The NBA requires 75% approval from the board of governors for another owner's remove. That means that 22 of the 29 other governors, aka owners, will have to vote in favor of Sarver's removal. Now, before we get started with that, I'm gonna ask your thoughts on that, what Draymond said, but also there's some real steam behind, a story where, Chris Paul's is tight with Disney owner, CEO Bob Iger, and that this story about removing him has been kind of, they've been playing puppet master through the media to put this out there to get him removed because they want to come in and own the team. And there's also rumors that it's also a connection where, like Iger will be 50% owner, but Chris Paul and LeBron James will kind of be penciled in when they get done to be, co-owners, 25% owners of the team. And that's how they would kind of get in the door of owning an NBA team or whatnot. Now, my beef with that is, look, Sarver, yes, I'm not arguing that part that he deserves to be removed for what he's done. But I just feel like the players, it's a slippery slope because the owners aren't the only ones violating. The players violate too. And I feel like it's a lot of hypocrisy going on with them guys because you don't hear the players speak out when certain players beat the hell out of their ladies, domestic abuse, recording themselves, talking about, people who like the same type of people, you know what I mean, on camera, put that out there and jamming himself up. You ain't hear a peep. But all of a sudden, the owner do it. Now certain players are speaking out and saying he needs to be removed. So I'm gonna start with you, Octave. What are your thoughts on what Draymond said and me giving you some additional information that definitely has traction? What do you think about the situation after that?
I mean, I feel like and I mean, I don't want to say that that's why they're doing it, but because I don't know them personally, it just sometimes it just feels like they're just saying it because they know they have to. They're not like in the public eye and they want to be on the good side of it. I would be interested to see how far they would be willing to take it. Because as we all know, most of the stuff can get done if you're affecting their bottom line. And granted, I know they don't have much room to stand on with the CBA coming up. Like, what are they willing to do? One thing I always remember when you talk about, back in the day at the NBA All-Star game, how they, boycotted and they was like, we're not going out there until y'all sign this deal. Like, I'm just wondering, like, I'm not saying that's necessarily what they have to do, but I'm just wondering how far are they willing to go with it? Is it just all lip service? So, I mean, I get it. I agree 100%. I definitely think he should be removed. I think they had a minority owner of the Suns also come out and say that they wanted him removed as well. But I haven't looked into it enough to really know what Silver can do. I just somewhere deep down inside, I feel like he could do more. I mean, maybe he physically can, or whatever the laws are or bylaws that they had. I think it's going to be pretty far fetched to get 22 governors or owners to vote him out. Because what I also heard is that a lot of them are kind of nervous that Sarver may have stuff on them. So it's a, like you said, it's a slippery slope, because they're like, hey, I mean, we all do this to him. Who's to say that everybody gonna do this to me if something happens to me? So I feel like that's the hardest part about it. So like I said, I would just be interested to see what Draymond, Chris Paul, LeBron decide, how far they want to take it. As far as the other aspect, I don't particularly like it because it just seems underhanded to me. Like, do you want him out because he needs to be out, or do you want him out because I could possibly partially own this team? I just feel like it's a gray area. Not saying that that's the reason why they're doing it, but it just seems a little to me. So I mean, I definitely want to see where the story goes and what happens. And like I said, and who's really, really ready to throw down a gauntlet and be like, this is it. This is what we need to do, and see what happens. But I'll be very surprised if they force him out. I won't be that surprised if he just happens to like resign and do it on his own. Like, then that makes me think that they probably make some other type of deal. But I have no idea.
All right, Wilson.
He definitely doesn't need to be the owner anymore. First and foremost, I think we all were on board with that last week. As far as with the players, yeah, I get like being like part of ownership. I know that's something a lot of players want to do. That whole thing's just kind of weird to me because it's like, all right, maybe when they're done, okay, fine. But the Bob Iger part is super weird to me because, all right, so he's over Disney. ESPN's under Disney. Like, you already have like relationship, like business relationship with ESPN and stuff, right? Is it ESPN a league partner already? So like, I'm interested in how that even works as a whole, and I'm sure there's a way they can make it work. I'm interested in that. But what you said about kind of like the hypocrisy between the players policing themselves versus the owners, yeah, there is something to be said about that, because for a large part, when their peers do some outlandish and stupid stuff, along with the things that you mentioned, it's quiet. When it's other things going on, they all find their way to make their voices heard, whether it's social media, video here, whatever it may be. So with that, yeah, I have an issue with that for sure. Sarver does need to be forced out. I just think that whole Chris Paul, LeBron, Bob Iger thing is kind of weird to me too. I feel like if I didn't know that, like if that news didn't come out during this, I'd probably feel differently. But it's just weird, like, to me. I guess that's the only way I can say it. It's just weird that that's been floated publicly, even if it is something that they're planning to do.
And like I was actually listening to the Andrew Bogut podcast, which was a real good podcast. Him and he co-hosts. It's his show, but it's another co-host, Mike Procopio, who used to be the player development coach with the Mavs. He's been in the NBA for a lot of years. He's been around for a minute. He was actually one of the skills trainer way back in the day with Tim Grover when they had those Chicago runs. So he's been around for a minute. He was kind of talking about that, and they said, they had the writer Ethan Strauss on there, and they said this stuff was talked about during Summer League before, because the Sarver investigation been going on a while, so all that was still talking before the news came down recently. But they said that's been talked about going all the way back then. That's the plan, and I'm like, yo, look. A lot of people justify doing foul stuff because other people do foul stuff. And I'm just like, dog, two wrongs don't make a right, man. Like, it's a way you can conduct business with some integrity. Like, you don't like find like dude based on the ruling, yeah, he deserves to be out because you just can't have somebody running the ship doing that, because that sets a precedent. Now, yeah, it should be some fear that he would start singing because he knows where the skeletons are, and like he knows everything. But guess what? I don't think that's just connected to owners either. And that's why it's a slippery slope. Because see, some of these players that's speaking out, it might be some dirt that we don't know that get out about them. All of a sudden they don't look the same no more. You know what I'm saying? And see, they don't know what everybody else knows. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a reason why Carmelo was like, oh man, when he was talking about his situation years ago, he's like, oh man, the NBA, the feds. Yeah. Yeah. They're highly connected. So you got to be very careful with what you're dealing with. And these players, they try and use the little social media momentum and pressure and stuff like that. That don't apply to billionaire owners, dog. Like, it don't move them. You know what I'm saying? They're not trolls. They don't even care about that unless they're making money. So it's just it's a slippery slope, man. We're going to see where it goes, man. But, oh, man. So, because this is going to set a precedent. Let's say they do it and they slide and become owners and stuff like that. Is this going to be the new path to try to get the ownership moving forward? Find some dirt on people, use your little media puppets, simps in the media, put the report out, and like, yeah, just wait. About to get up in there. Is this the way to do it? We'll see. Moving forward. Yay, Kyrie Irving's back at it. He says the COVID-19 vaccine mandates were one of the biggest violations of human rights in history. Now, to be fair, he's speaking out on behalf of, employees in New York that were either fired or, vilified because they were unvaccinated and they couldn't work, or maybe they had their hours reduced or whatnot. And he kind of just speaking up for him, but still, he said, if I can work and be unvaccinated, then all my brothers and sisters who are also unvaccinated should be able to do the same without being discriminated against, vilified, or fired. This enforced vaccine pandemic is one of the biggest violations of human rights in history. Wilson, what are your thoughts on Mr. Irving coming out with this today?
Nothing. Just I'm so happy the season's about to be here. Just you need something to do. You almost made it. You almost made it. We were like, the little meme with like how many days without a Kyrie incident. It was going well for a little while. Then he spoke. I was hoping I wasn't gonna hear from him until like media day. He couldn't even wait like 7 days, 6 days or something. He just had to, man.
He's gonna speak at media day?
I don't know. He's weird. He probably won't speak in media day after he said this stuff. Knowing him, like anything's possible. I don't. It's like everything else with him. Why this hill? Why this hill? You've been doing stuff like people had to take vaccines and stuff. Kids to go in school like forever. What are we doing here? What are you doing, dude? You had to take him when you took your butt from your high school to Duke. You took him. What are we doing here?
Had to take him when your pops played overseas in Australia, and you was going back and forth between there and the States.
You took him. Like, I need him to have basketball take up all his time, because his takes on other stuff, I'm just disinterested in. I'm highly disinterested in anything he has to say, for the most part.
Octavia.
Yeah, I'm about to just lump him in the same category that I did Andre Drummond and them. Like, just stop talking. Just play basketball. It doesn't, because like Wilson said, that's the same thing I was gonna say. It's like we've all had to take stuff that maybe we didn't necessarily want it to, but in order to live here, like you kind of have to, And it was the same thing. And then at the same time, it was already an unprecedented event. Like, it was a freaking pandemic. It's not like they said you have to take the flu shot or you can't play. And before the pandemic came around, the flu was killing more people than the pandemic had, at that certain time. So, I mean, like, it just seems like he just wants to start some type of uproar. And yeah, I get it. You don't like that people lost their jobs, but people didn't necessarily lose their jobs. They made a choice. And those choices have consequences, which is the same thing that you did. You made a choice, which is your own God-given right to do, but that doesn't mean that you aren't going to be levied with consequences. You may not like the consequences, but if you decided to make the decision to do that, then that's what it is. This corporation stated that for the wealth and health of our massive amount of people, because most of it was for big companies, they were able to choose how they wanted to do it. And those people then made a choice to say either, okay, I keep my job and get this vaccine, or I lose my job and don't get the vaccine. It's as simple as that. It may not be what you want to hear or how you think it should have gone, but you don't run this business. These people run this business, and this is what they want to do. Just like you don't run the NBA, you don't run the city of New York, the mayor does. And he made the decision, and then you made your own decision. You just didn't like the outcome. So I just want people to be able to take, accountability for the things that they decide to do with their lives. You decided not to take it. You didn't play. Andrew Wiggins decided to take it, even though he didn't want to, and he won a championship. That's all I'm saying.
And just say what he says, talking about this is one of the biggest violations in human rights in history. It's like what Octavia said. I can think of a lot of things throughout history that were bigger human rights violations, and people didn't have a choice. It was just done to them, and they try to fight their way out of it best they could. Most people ain't make it. You think about civil rights era, Jim Crow era, slavery. So about the Holocaust, and you're gonna really compare this to that. You had a choice, dog. You literally have a choice. Biggest human rights violations, they don't typically allow you to have a choice, dog. It's just this was coming. Deal with it. You know what I mean? Like it just goes back to the entitlement of a lot of these dudes and the delusion of a lot of these dudes, man. Like, oh, you like y'all say, y'all putting him back in that group, man. I gotta, like you said, he was doing good, man. He was doing good for a while. What's that dude, Saul Maroni? What's the dude from Dark Knight? I gotta put him back in that group. Like, what makes you think I want to hear you talk, dog? I don't. You gotta be back in that group. Bro. Sorry. If you ain't hooping, I don't want to hear your name. It's just because you just talk and you think what you're saying is so profound based on a small group of people who made a similar choice like you. But what about all the other people who died? I didn't want to take time out my day to go get no damn shot. Like, I'm 10 years old. That joint was an inconvenience. And and one of the shots, the last booster, they just threw that on us as media in the middle of the season. Like, y'all got like a week to go get this, 10 days to go get this. But all the damn pharmacies were backed up. And if you didn't get it, guess what? You can't be in the arena covering games. So I had to go way out my way to find a damn Safeway with a pharmacy that had an opening and get that at the last minute. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to finish the season and do my job. You acting like everybody else was lining up to be like, hey, I can't wait to get a couple more shots, man. Woof. I'm excited. It don't work like that. Like, oh, these dudes just need to shut up, man. Like, it's serious. Just hoop. Like, y'all really at that point where them racers like just shut up and hoop. They like, you really validating it, and it's bad, man. Because I really don't. It's like, damn, dog. I kind of feel you now. You see what I'm saying? It's just bad, man. Like, just be quiet, bro. Like, the only people who rocking with you are your delusional friends, which is probably youngins in high school or something like that, who's just amazed at your play, don't know nothing. Look, and even when he said, I saw the reaction on Twitter from other members in the media, they're just like, Kyrie just needs some love. Just ignore him. Like, it was just automatic, man. We're not even falling for this no more. So it's just sad that he's still trying to push this, man, after all the drama he done. Like, bro, your man wanted to roll because of this nonsense, dog. You on a 1-year deal. I hope you hoop. That's all I'm gonna say. Because this is another sign, like, yeah, that BS still there. So yeah, I hope you hoop. Last question. This is the last question. How much time? We good? You on mute?
We could do 2 more if you want. It's fine.
All right.
Big issue.
Take it over to the football side of things. Cleveland Browns running back Nick Chubb took blame for Sunday's loss to the Jets, saying he should have gone down to set up in the final 2 minutes. Chubb scored a touchdown run with 1:55 to play, put the Browns up 30-17. Rookie kicker Cade York then missed the extra point. But with the Jets already out of timeouts, the Browns could have kneeled and ended the game there and had Chubb not scored. Instead, the Jets became the first team in 21 years to overcome a 13-point deficit in the last 2 minutes of the game. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have scored right there, Chubb said Tuesday. Honestly, looking back at it, it cost us the game. A lot of things went wrong, not just one thing, but collectively as a unit, as a team, we could have all done things differently. But it's only a problem because we didn't win. So I probably should have went down. After Chubb's touchdown, the Jets answered on the second play of the ensuing drive. Quarterback Joe Flacco found Corey Davis wide open down the sideline for a 66-yard touchdown. The Jets then recovered the onside kick, and Flacco quickly drove New York down the field again, capped by a 15-yard touchdown pass to Gary Wilson to put the Jets up 31-30 with 22 seconds remaining. At the end of the day, I've been in that situation before, and so I really can't put it on anyone but myself at this point, said Chubb, who rushed for 87 yards and 3 touchdowns against New York. I think the biggest thing is I was aware of what was going on, and I thought the game was over, if I'm being honest. Back on you, Octavia. Just what are your thoughts on this?
So I have mixed feelings. One, because I have Nick Chubb on my fantasy team. The 3rd touchdown was amazing. Thank you. Secondly, I get it, but to me, it's always hindsight is 2020. Like, I don't think anybody at that moment thought that would happen. So yeah, thinking about it now, yeah, you probably should have knew. But at the same time, I hate to say it, they're playing the Jets. They didn't think that they were going to do anything. And granted, so yes, he scored, but they still had ample opportunity after that to keep the Jets from scoring. I mean, who recovers an onside kick? Like who? Like what happens? And then just the atrocious defense that they played at the end. I don't know why they don't think Garrett Wilson is good. I don't know, because he is. So granted, yes, that may have been the start of it, but they had ample opportunities to end that game. I mean, for goodness sake, they put Amari Cooper out there on the hands team, and his hands wasn't working. It doesn't make any sense. Like, the ball was right there. They could have ended it there. So yeah, it sucks. It definitely sucks, But I mean, I honestly don't even think that in that moment a lot of people thought about that. I'm sure, like I said, now hindsight's 2020. You're thinking back on like, I probably should have knelt, but you literally like were right at the goal line. So like, I think that takes a lot of discipline for somebody not to score in that situation. But it's not just on him; it's on the coaches. It's on them as a whole, as a team. So I applaud his selflessness of trying to take the blame, but it's not all on him. It's on them as a team, because even in that situation, they still should have lost that game.
Wilson.
Hey, Nick Chubb is a heck of a guy. I applaud him trying to take accountability and all that. The Cleveland Browns have a very good roster. The Cleveland Browns have been telling folks how good that roster's been in the midst of building it for the last 3 years. Nick Chubb scored to put you up 13. You just paid somebody on the back end of your defense $70 million. We know what Myles Garrett gets paid. Bro, you shouldn't be the one standing up here talking at all. Like Octavia said, the defense, even with, okay, cool, worst case scenario, they get the onside kick. Okay, if you're who you're supposed to be, you snuff that out and we're done here. We're done. That's just unacceptable. The ghost of Joe Flacco came through and got y'all out of there. Y'all got to have a discussion. That's just what that is. As a defense, has to have a discussion. Because last time I checked, the guy you're paying a ton of money to be a starting quarterback isn't there. I don't think your offense can afford not to score at just period until, said player gets back. Defense, however, you're not missing anybody for the year. That's just nasty work. I don't want to hear from Nick Chubb. Myles Garrett, I want to hear from you. Denzel Ward, I want to hear from you. Maybe the GM. All I've been hearing is how great the defense is and the resources that you poured into it. You're up 13 with a little bit of time left. Don't tell me the running back shouldn't have scored. That's horrible.
Yeah, I feel like you was when he said that. I like, man, he's just being the leader. He's better than me. I wouldn't be taking blame for that shit. Fuck him. I'd be like, nope. I better go ask some defensive players. How much? Dog. Nah. I scored 3 touchdowns, dog. And look at the NFL. If my team scored 30 and we lose, offense, y'all good. Y'all got the day off. Defense practice tomorrow, dog. Like, what the hell? Like, you should not lose if you put up 30 in an NFL game. You just shouldn't lose. Bruh, it's trash defenses that's holding teams down. Like, trash defenses, man. And the fact they ain't say nothing, just it speaks volumes. That's why they lost, man. And I know, and we all really know what happened. Like, once they threw that ball, it was kind of like Reggie Miller scored that eight points, whatever certain amount. They just shocked. They're like, yo, what the fuck? Just dog. I know why. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get it. You be like, as an athlete, you like, I know this ain't really happening. It got to be a dream. Like, what the hell is? And you just your mind all over the place to sit on what you need to be doing. And then they locked in. Now Flacco get the ball back. He like, man, he think he Joe Montana. And you so tripping like, yo, what the? And you scrambling. Y'all not even focused on football and trying to pull out this game. That's what happened. They were scrambling. So, no, the man did his job. Like, dog, come on, dog. Like, come on, man. Like, 3 touchdowns, man. You up 30. Like, now if the game was close and you can't risk it because they got time to drive down the field, yeah, near. But that ain't his fault, man. It's the defense's fault. You got 11 guys on the other side that get paid millions of dollars, man. What is wrong with them? And they should be ashamed. Like if you can take pride in your work and what you do, you should be ashamed of yourself that even happened. You know what I'm saying? So, look, man, at least somebody's trying to be a leader, dog. You know what I'm saying? Especially these days, because these days athletes just quick to point the finger at somebody. But look, Chubb, respect Chubb, man. Keep running, bro. Keep getting your numbers, dog. Because the way this looking, if I'm you, self-preservation. Let me just do what I do. So. I can get my check, keep taking care of my family, because this is sad. And this takes us into my last question. Well, not my last question, last situation we need to talk about. A fan was arrested for allegedly throwing a water bottle at Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam on Sunday's loss to the Jets. Jeffrey Miller, 51, was arrested Sunday on complaints of assault, failure to comply with the lawful order, and disorderly conduct, according to the police report. The Browns are playing in the ban Miller from returning to First Energy Stadium. This was told ESPN. NFL Network, which reported that the fan will be banned. Captured video has them walking to the Browns tunnel just as Jets receiver Garrett Wilson scored a winning touchdown in a 31-30 win over Cleveland. After the bottle hit Haslam, he looked up to try to find the fan who threw it. Police identified Miller as the suspect, using stadium video surveillance, and found him before he could leave the stadium. According to the police report, Miller didn't stop when police ordered him to. After detaining him near the exit gate, police took Miller to the stadium police room. The police report noted that officers suspected Miller was intoxicated. He was then taken to the county jail. Fan, player, and staff safety is the top priority in our building, and behavior that puts others in danger will not be tolerated. The Browns said in a statement, luckily no one was harmed in this incident, and that's a standard practice. We cooperate with law enforcement authorities, and security video footage of the object being thrown is in the appropriate hands. We will have no further comment on this matter. Yeah, fans have been tripping, but this is the aftermath of that situation. Wilson, what are your thoughts? I see you laughing.
I'm not mature enough to answer this. What was his name?
Hold on, give me my name. You talking about the dude who threw the
Yeah.
ball? Jeffrey Miller, 51.
Hey, Brown fans, y'all need to go ahead and free Jeffrey Miller. Like,
Look,
you shouldn't throw water at anybody. You shouldn't throw stuff at people. Also, as an owner, if you saw how that was going, what were you doing down on the field? Like, the last place I would want to be, watching my money trick that game away. It is Cleveland fan. What did you think was about to happen to you? Like, at least it wasn't in Philadelphia. Sorry, Octavia.
yeah,
They throw things harder than water bottles. I'm not trying to be mean. Just,
right now, how was good?
you know, I know, but I'm just saying. Howie's in it, and that's why Howie doesn't walk it down on the field. They don't play that there. They throw things like batteries. It was a water bottle. Again, fans have been tripping. It was a water bottle. Like, they've really, post-pandemic fans are like zombies. They've been on one across sports. They don't know how to act. Like,
Kyler Murray.
yeah, like
Yeah, I was
just
like, that
tripping.
would be arrested.
So from that sense, I get it. He should be arrested and all that. I get that. However, on the zombie, on the post-apocalypse scale of fandom, it was a water bottle, and I'm not saying you earned it, but you know, like. And the other thing with Cleveland, like, I don't want to hear y'all talk about rules and be strict about anything when, you know, it's kind of weird, but gotta love the NFL.
Should have threw the water bottle at the defense, but go ahead, Octavia.
I was like, I mean, my question is, was there actually water in the water bottle? You know, was the top on? I mean, did he just like douse it on them? Because, I mean, I feel like it's a little bit much. Don't get me wrong, like Wilson said, these fans have been tripping, but I'm talking about, you know, the fan that dumped a whole bucket of beer on Russell Westbrook's head. And we're talking about the fans that are, you know, verbally assaulting people's family members in the stands. But you're talking about a guy who's I believe this was their first home game of the year. I saw on Bleacher Report that they got these two brand new fake dogs that they run out the tunnel with now, and how big of a deal this season is supposed to be for them. That guy was probably drunk out of his mind. And to see the win just slip away from them, he probably just had a lapse of judgment. So, granted, like Wilson said, I understand the rules. You shouldn't throw things at people. But, come on, it's a football game. Stuff happens. If you want to ban them from your stadium, okay. But, you know, arresting him for it, it's a bit much for me. But I understand, you know, like you said, rules are rules, even though you pick and choose the rules you want to abide by. It's just a little bit extra, just slightly. I mean, the Browns fan base is they're tired. They're I would be upset. Like every other year, it's something going on with them. So they're probably just super fed up. I mean, we lost to the Jets at that, so that makes it even that much worse. Um, it's just a bad situation. So I hope somebody gets Mr. Miller out of jail. And honestly, he probably would do better. He doesn't have to pay for tickets anymore. Just watch it on home. I don't know.
No, my reaction is you shouldn't have took them to jail. You should have just fucked them up, Dave Chappelle style, and set an example. That'll kill all that moving forward. Like whoop his ass in front of the whole crowd, and they'd be like, damn. Then they won't be so intoxicated and so quick to do some shit when they drunk. Like fans been bugging though. Even the Kyler Murray slap a few weeks ago, me and my wife she took me well for her birthday last month. Went to see Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's on stage. Now I was fighting in Capital One, like in the section next to Kevin Hart. He's like, what's going on? And you know, he played it off as a professional. He went and got the bat like, yeah, ain't gonna be no Dave Chappelle going on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, security had to go get him. They was fighting over there in that. You know what I'm saying? Like fans bugging. Fans are bugging. So yeah. I get why they got it conservative. Yeah, it was a water bottle. You got to check that, but I'm just for like, all right, look, this ain't working. Sending them to jail. They not tripping off that. A good ass whooping will send a strong message. Everybody gonna see that because it's gonna be viral.
Oh yeah.
We saw Dave Chappelle. His elbow was bent the other way. The dude they ran like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Have you seen anybody run up on stage and comedian since? All right then. So sometimes you just gotta set that, like you can get fucked up. Don't play these games. And if you the owner, you got bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'm gonna be on the field beginning of the game, checking out everybody, making sure everybody good. Then I'm going up to my suite. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you got one time to even disrespect. I want a press charge. I'd like to go get them. Whatever you do, I ain't see shit. And if they say you went too far, I got the lawyer fees. You ain't got to worry about nothing. But fuck him up. We gonna make an example out of him. Like what you throwing it at me for? Just cutting the check. Look at the defense. Why don't you do that? Look, didn't a fan sneak Myles Garrett? And also he was in his car. He thought the dude was asking for an autograph, and he snuffed him and ran away. And he was at a light. You feel what I'm saying? Like they tripping. Like they've been tripping for a while.
Too much to heart.
Since the pandemic, they've been tripping hard. So it's getting closer. It's gonna be a bad example one day, and I'm just sitting back like I don't want to hear nothing. Y'all should have been. If you can't hold your liquor, don't drink. You want to get drunk, stay in your house.
Yeah.
But like how we say with the players, is consequences. Kyrie, look, consequence for your choices is consequences.
Yep.
And honestly, banning, I think these days with social media and stuff like that, and this is my last point I'm gonna start with, like with social media, I don't even think banning is enough because these twisted people's minds is fame. They're known, they're well known and all that. So they happy to get the attention because they never had no damn attention in their life. They ain't, because who cares? So, but the good ass whooping, that's the wrong kind of attention. When you viral getting your shit beat, just shit beat out you just nobody want that attention, dog. So they need to start sending these messages. Stop being so nice, bro. Like he violated, go get him and bring him on the field and whoop his ass, and then all this will stop.
Right in the middle of the field.
Hey man, viral stuff works both ways. Just quickly you can get fame. Shame happens too.
Hey, I hate to say it. Hey, Robinson been laying low since that night. Hey, dog. Booty in the air, dog. Hey, look, ain't nothing more than a good ass whooping, dog. You just sleep with Jack. Have you seen the dude Chappelle right? Have you seen him since? All right, then.
But the sad part is the way they're acting. Like you said, there's gonna be a visceral response to it. They're working their way to that type of response, and again, like you know,
because it's so much easier to get to.
And that's the thing that's just so stupid because of clout, because of fame, and how broken people's minds are for attention. Like they're gonna work their way to something, and look, man.
Remember the Malice at the Palace, and Ron was on the table. When the cup hit him and he got up. Everybody missed his part. I remember it was the sister in the crowd pointing, talking all this shit. When he ran up, she go, oh. She moved out the way quick. And then when it went down, it went down. I'm like, y'all gonna get the wrong person. Y'all not suspecting, and it's gonna happen. Because even with the football side of it, what if you hit one of the players? Like Kyler Murray got hit. Luckily, his team was coming up. They didn't really see it, but I don't even know if he knew who really did it. But one of y'all gonna do that, John, one day, dog. And look, the NBA is 24 players and the coaching staff. The NFL, that's 100 plus dudes. Dudes. They could take about 5 or 10 of y'all one dude, offensive lineman, even tackle. Dog, and they on one adrenaline pumping. They pushing other strong ends the other way. Y'all don't want those problems. Like, all right, y'all outnumber, but 100 dudes get up in that section, that part of the stands, it's gonna be a whole lot of fans fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, the fans gotta be held accountable because it's like a kid. You say timeout, it don't work. You get this belt and really whoop your ass, so you can really understand I'm not playing with you. And then that will always be in their mind, like I need to cheer. I don't want to go out like home. That's where this is going to, man. So these fans better cheer.
They've really been on one. We want to thank y'all for tuning in this week. We appreciate it. Gonna have a lot more for you guys next week. By the time we talk to you next week, it would have been a couple of days of Wizards training camp. So we have some updates from that. Another is, the first 2 weeks of football or the NFL season, it felt like 3 years. Can't wait to see what week 3 ends up feeling like. We'll be a little bit closer to college basketball. I won't have I shouldn't have any DC United updates for you guys this week. But who knows what the cards hold. Sports has been going crazy. Might have to extend a rapid fire next week. We will see. But thank you guys for tuning in. Again, follow the Focus TV on all your social media mediums. Of course, you can watch the show Friday nights at 10 p.m. on DCTV. If you're outside the city, just get on your browser, dctv.org. You're able to watch and stream the show live there. Then obviously if you have a Roku television or device, all you have to do is type in the Focus TV in the search box, double tap OK or enter on your remote, whatever works. You have the channel and you get this show every week and whatever else we have going on. And again, basketball season started. Wizards Outlook is literally around the corner. By next week we'll probably have the first episode of Wizards Outlook. Like, just be completely honest, because preseason's here. But y'all have a great week. Thank you guys for tuning in. We truly appreciate y'all. And we'll see y'all soon.